Get ready to dive into a world of excitement. Listen to our AI-generated podcast review of Chapter 3, Witch Trinity, The Calling, a delight for the supernatural-loving listener. A new chapter of the podcast will be available weekly, so subscribe or click the notification bell to not miss out. And please share the link with others. Enjoy the podcast.
Okay, so, are you ready to dive into this scene from Witch Trinity, The Calling? It's, it's seriously creepy and intriguing all at the same time.
Yeah, sounds promising.
Yeah, it really is something. So, we're with Serena again for this one, Chapter 3. She's in a cafe, trying to, kind of get her head straight after this encounter with this strange woman.
Oh, this is the part with...
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But just wait, because it gets a lot weirder.
Okay, so what's happening? Lay it out for me.
So put yourself in Serena's shoes for a sec. Imagine you're in this crowded cafe, right? And every little sound, every whisper, every clinking dish, it's all super amplified, like almost painfully loud. That's what she's dealing with.
Oh, wow. I see the author's trying to really put us in her head, huh?
Really?
Like using sensory overload to make us feel her anxiety.
That's it, exactly. She even closes her eyes for a second, hoping for a little peace and quiet. But that's when things get really strange, I think.
How so? What happens?
Well, as soon as she shuts out the outside world, that's when she starts to hear something else, like this faint chanting, almost like a whisper at first, but it just keeps getting louder and louder.
I see. So it's like the author's blurring the lines between what's real and what's, maybe in her head. Right?
Yeah, you got it. Because, get this, when Serena opens her eyes again, she's not in the cafe anymore. She's in this damp, dark cavern.
Whoa, hold on. Talk about a change of scenery, right? That's got to be disorienting.
Total sensory whiplash, right. And it's not just like a visual thing either. The author makes you feel the weight of this transition, like the way it mirrors Serena's own disorientation. 1 minute is sensory overload, the next it's this heavy silence, only broken by this rhythmic chanting.
Oh, so someone else is in this cavern with her.
Yes. There's this woman dressed in a white robe, and she's chanting, and she's standing over this bowl, swirling this, crimson liquid in it. I don't know, it gave me a weird feeling. Very ritualistic,
Definitely. It's like the author's drawing on classic imagery of witchcraft and magic.
Right,
to make it mysterious. Maybe even tap into our fears a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And remember how I said things were going to get weirder? Well, this chanting woman, she looks right at Serena and says, "You are powerful, yet unaware."
Whoa. Okay, that's a little creepy, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? It's like this woman knows something about Serena that Serena doesn't even know about herself.
Right. And it's not just creepy in a, metaphorical sense. Serena actually feels it. She describes this pain that starts in her head, and it gets worse with every word the woman says. The words themselves have weight,
Interesting. It's like that idea you sometimes see in fantasy where words themselves can have power. They can be used to heal or to hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And if that wasn't enough, this brilliant light explodes from Serena, bathing the whole cavern in this, otherworldly glow.
It's almost like a manifestation of the power the woman was talking about, right?
Yeah.
Something inside Serena just woke up, something that was always there, just hidden.
Yeah, maybe. Then the light fades, the pain goes away, and Serena's left just completely stunned, trying to figure out what just happened. But before she can even think straight, the woman says, "Another way is needed." And then, this is crazy, a single strand of Serena's hair is just plucked right from her head.
What? That's so random. But I guess it kind of makes sense. It's like this weird, fantastical scene is suddenly grounded in something very real, pain. It reminds us that even in this magical world, there are still real consequences.
For sure. And speaking of the real world, guess where Serena finds herself next?
Back in the cafe, I'm guessing.
Yep. It's back in the cafe, rubbing her head, and everyone's staring at her like she's grown another head.
Oh man, I can only imagine what's going through their minds. How do you even begin to explain something like that?
Right. It's how do you put something so far outside of normal experience into words that someone else can understand?
It makes you wonder, what's the point of language if it can't even describe the really strange stuff, right?
It really does. And just when Serena's trying to process all of it, in walks Simon, her boyfriend, along with his friends, Delf and Shorn. Now, these two, they haven't said a single word this whole time, not a peep, which honestly just makes the whole thing feel even weirder.
Yeah, it's like their silence is speaking volumes, they're aware of something that's just not quite right.
Exactly. And then, out of nowhere, both of them say at the exact same time, something is wrong.
Ooh, chills. It's like they can sense it too, whatever it is, like some kind of disturbance in the force.
Right. And get this, because what happens next, well, let's just say it's straight out of a fantasy novel. Serena, Delf, and Shorn, they all reach for this grimoire that's on the table.
Okay, and remind me, what's a grimoire again? I'm drawing blank.
Oh, right. It's like a magic textbook, basically, full of spells and rituals and all sorts of ancient knowledge. Anyway, so they all touch the book at the same time, and bam! This huge blue spark erupts, and then everything goes dark.
But then, just like that, the lights come back on, the cafe's back to normal. But something's different, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It's like they've all been touched by this experience, even if they don't totally get what it all means yet. What does Serena do?
Well, she tries to brush it off, right? Calls it static electricity. Like, oh, that was weird. Must have been a power surge.
Oh, come on, Serena. Static electricity, really?
I know, right? But it makes sense, doesn't it? When something truly weird happens, our first instinct is to try and explain it away, make it fit into our understanding of how the world works.
True, true. But deep down, you know she knows it was more than that. Something's changed.
Definitely. It's like that saying, see a rabbit pulled from a hat once, it's a trick. See it twice, that's magic. This is like Serena's second rabbit. She can try to deny it, but something tells me this is just the beginning.
Totally agree. And speaking of beginnings, remember how we talked about the author using external events to kind of mirror what's going on internally with the characters?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, check this out. Serena gets this last-minute work assignment. She has to go to Paris. And not just for a vacation or anything, she has to interview, like, the key witness in some big news story.
Okay, sounds interesting, but how's that a rabbit?
Just wait for it. Knowing this author, I'm willing to bet this news story, it's going to tie directly into all the crazy, magical stuff that's happening with Serena. It's like the universe is saying, hey, pay attention. This is important.
Ooh, I like where this is going. So it's not a coincidence, this assignment. It's like fate stepping in, pushing Serena toward her destiny or whatever.
Exactly. But, of course, there's a catch, right? She has this engagement dinner with Simon's mother coming up, a commitment to her normal life. And then, get this, the author describes Serena's editor, Jimmy, and his voice as, like, super persuasive. Like, weirdly so. It's almost like, I don't know, like there's magic in his words, too, influencing her.
Okay, this Jimmy character is interesting. Is he a good guy? A bad guy? Is he aware of what's really going on with Serena and this whole magic thing? Or is he clueless?
Right. It's like there are all these forces pulling at her from different directions. And then right when you think it can't get any weirder, Delf and Shorn, remember them, the silent guys, well, they just get up and leave. And all they say is, we must go. Talk about cryptic.
No kidding. It's like everyone in this book is playing some kind of high-stakes game, and we're just now figuring out the rules.
And we're definitely not high enough level to know what's happening.
Exactly. They're gone, vanished, poof. It's like another reminder that we're only seeing a tiny piece of this whole world, you know? This world where magic's real and ancient powers are moving in the shadows. I don't know about you, but I'm completely hooked.
It's like we're watching Serena get pulled in two different directions, you know? One minute, she's got this normal life with Simon, and the next, she's got this magical destiny whispering to her.
It's a classic struggle, right? The familiar versus the unknown. Comfort versus adventure.
For sure. And the author does a really good job of making us feel that tension, you know? Like, do you play it safe and stick with what you know, or do you risk it all for something more?
Exactly.
Right.
And it's not like she has all the time in the world to decide. This work assignment, this trip to Paris, it's like a catalyst, right? It's forcing her hand, making her choose a path.
Right.
But that's the beauty of a well-crafted story like this. Every character, every event, it all adds another layer of intrigue to the mix. It's like we're putting together a puzzle, but the pieces keep changing shape right in front of our eyes. That's how this author works, always keeping us guessing, always a few steps behind.
That's true. But hey, that's half the fun, right? Trying to unravel the mystery, following the breadcrumbs and seeing where they lead.
Absolutely. It's like we're on this incredible journey right alongside Serena, full of twists and turns and unexpected detours.
And like any good journey, you never know quite where you're going to end up. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be one heck of a ride. And on that note, we're going to have to wrap up this deep dive, but don't worry, we'll be back next time with another fascinating look into the world of Witch Trinity, The Calling. Until then, happy reading, everyone.